All right, all of you freedom-loving boys and girls, whomever you are, wherever you are in this big blue marble of a planet we call Earth, Mark Centerline Systems. Hey, we've got a very special guest coming on tonight, Clint from NEMESIS Camo. I apologize for just being a couple minutes late. We're actually working out some technical issues. So I was just actually on the phone a second ago. So he should be joining us here in a little bit. But then as always, before we kind of get things going, just kill a little bit of time just so more people can join us on the live stream here. So we've got the readiness training group, that charity auction we're doing for them. So that's the Kestrel knife from Evan Simbita. It's Simbita Custom Knives, Black Scout Survival, the med kit that we make, the medical deployment kit that we make for him, and an insert, and then one of the new rucks, to whatever color combo that the winner's going to get. That's going on right now. There still are a handful of tickets left. They are going pretty fast, so it's over on the website. And then other than that, I'm just going to kind of read some comments here. Kind of waiting to see Clint join us here. We've got, and Gene, I'm going to be showing off something for you, brother. You know what I'm talking about. Gene from across the pond saying good evening, everybody, and everybody else. Woo! We got Big Visk. Yep, reminding everybody the charity event is live, peeps. He is absolutely correct. Tennessee with a couple comments. Hey, Tennessee, but I have tried calling you. I need to talk to you about that belt. So maybe after this live stream, we can chat for a couple minutes. Tennessee saying hi, you boys, and then giving me a hard time. Are we live? And then happy solstice. That's correct. Today is the first day of summer. Good job there. All right. And then Gene coming in again. Evening, ma'am, mama. Big Visk. It's up on the, yep. Oh, I see what's going on. Tennessee may not have been asking about if we were live, about whether or not the ticket sales are live. Yeah, the ticket sales are up on the site. Thank you, Big Visk. And then, yeah, Tennessee saying thanks. Tennessee's also saying then there's 5 fewer tickets. Well, we're getting really close to the end then. And then we've got Dustin coming in saying, sup, guys? Dustin, nice to see you over here on the live stream. All right, well, I haven't heard back from Clint, so I'm assuming he's getting it figured out on his side. And then Kevin here, hit that like button. I'm going to take just a couple more seconds before we get Clint on. And I know, and I'm sure everybody and someone right now is like, oh, here's another YouTuber whining. I'm not a YouTuber, as you guys know. I mean, I'm a voice for radio and a face for silent, or no, face for radio and a voice for silent film. But really, in this day and age, and if you don't think there's censorship, and if you think what I'm saying is political, I just don't know what to tell you. But Kevin is absolutely right. The way to punch through this algorithm, and here I'm doing a charity auction, and ScrewTube is totally just suppressing that, and like, oh, so here's a video and it gets 400, 1,000 views, and then you mention charity or doing something good for people, or like what we're doing here, bringing on guests to share their background and experience. Yeah, and those things are totally, unless, am I to assume that no one wants to talk to these great men and women or support other great causes? I have a hard time believing that, and I'm sure that's not who you guys are watching this live or on demand. So, hey, as we're waiting for Clint to make his entrance here, I'm just going to kind of jump right into it and just show off a little something. All right, Gene, just hang on to yourself, all right? Just control yourself, Gene. All right, here we go. So we did NEMESIS Camo in a charity that we did last year, and I made one of our burritos out of it, our burrito or CFSE. This one right here. So Malcolm from over at the Hidden Woodsman, we did a little trade. I gave him some material that I had, and he gave me some NEMESIS. And so here's Gene's. He's going to do a mud flap on his. So he got a mud flap and the carrier, the Mod Deuce, and I'll just take the mud flap off. And then Gene went with Ranger Green for all of his, his webbing and his plastics. And that bad boy is just looking awesome. Looking really good. I really like how that came out. And so, I'll just jump right into it. We still don't have Clint here. And guess what, boys and girls? This shit happens. It's possible that our technical difficulties may prevent Clint from coming on today. And if that's the case, we'll just roll him into another live later down the pike. Yeah, because I haven't even received a text message or anything from him yet. But yeah, so So Clint has really educated me on this, and I'm not going to lie, that's why you got to do your research, and you just can't assume. And I kind of had assumed a couple things. Actually, I'm not going to lie. I originally thought this was made in Finland, and Clint was like, "Oh, hell no, no way, wait. This is no joke Kadura. It's mil spec. It's made in America." We are going to have this as a color option over on Centerline Systems here in the not too distant future. I'm going to punch my way through the 4th of July weekend. We've got a bunch of orders. Matter of fact, I just talked to most of the people whose orders will be able to get done before the 4th. I just got done doing that earlier today. And so we're going to focus on that stuff. And then after the 4th of July, that's probably when you'll see the rucksack come up on the website. And somewhere around then, that's when I'll probably start introducing yeah, just look at that. I mean, it's really cool. And I don't want to, if you see me hesitating, because I want Clint to kind of talk about it. It's his baby. He created it in the whole 9 yards, and the patterns actually run in all different configurations, so it's not just one plane. It works on a multitude of planes. So you can see that right there. Yeah, it's just really cool. We will have this as an available option for everybody going forward in the future. Right now, this was kind of, like I said, Gene had kind of reached out to me and really wanted this. Malcolm was kind enough, like I said, to do a trade. I gave him some Mariner blue that I still had, and he gave me a little over about a yard of this. Excuse me. And really came out nicely. I've got maybe enough left to maybe make one more. I don't think so. I think I could make a smaller product, but that's it for right now. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Might be in trouble with Clint. I mean, it's been 6 minutes, 7 minutes since I spoke with him, and I haven't heard anything back from him yet. So he's out west doing some stuff and cruising all over the place, doing some movie type of production. So we might not be able to get him on. I hope we can, but not seen him. Haven't had a text back from him. So hopefully he didn't get eaten by a grizzly bear. And where did we leave off? All right, let's just read a couple. Yeah, here we go. All right, we left off with Kevin. Yeah, hit that like button, everybody, and share it. And especially like the charity auction and the events like that. I mean, you just got to do it. Tennessee, Gene, that Nemesis is calling my name. Are we getting a bidding war going here, Tennessee? Are you going to try to buy Gene's gear from out from underneath him? I think not. Then we got Gene. Damn, that's hot. Yeah, just like the temperatures on the East Coast right now. Tennessee saying, damn. Big Visk, sweet looking. Kevin, that's awesome. Kevin, and thank you for coming on the live. I don't think we've seen you before in the live, so appreciate you coming in and leaving some comments. Tennessee, nice job, Gene. Yeah, hats off to Gene. And honestly, and this is what makes you guys and gals awesome. I'm so serious about this. I call every customer, and maybe I don't hear back from every customer, but I reach out to every customer to confirm your order and make sure there wasn't some mistake, and that I'm doing it the way you want me to do it. And as a result, I get to talk and meet, a lot of you great men and women. And, Gene, and to Tennessee's point, nice, Gene. It was Gene. Gene was like, oh, hey, do you have Nemesis? I really like the Nemesis. Can you get some? And then I started, and then I kind of looked around and, and at the point, I don't remember if Rocky Wood was selling it. Rocky Wood is an online manufacturer, distributor, excuse me, where even, all of us can go and you can buy the yard if you want. It's a little more expensive when you buy it that way, but it is what it is, right? It's going to be that way. But so, yeah, because of Gene and, and this happens with so many other customers, Gene talking to me, making a request. And then, I got lucky. I reached out to, excuse me, I reached out to Malcolm. Malcolm had some. And we did a swap, and here we are. And now it's going to probably come into the product line, and we'll see how it goes. So that's all because of you guys and gals. So I really appreciate it. You're great, just great individuals. Tennessee, that's very cool, Mark. The fabric can be manipulated like that. Yep, so it can. So, most of the times when I'm cutting material, here's my 100-yard roll, and it's about 60 to 62 inches to the left, right, where the selvage is and that kind of stuff. And your patterns always go across that horizontal, that left, right. So, you have to, when you're putting down your patterns, there's certain things that you have to do because you always want the pattern to go a certain way. But, technically speaking, with this Nemesis, you could just put it down and then just, really arrange it or nest it, whatever works, because that going. There is no really one way. It works on all the axes. So that's kind of cool. I really like that. And then Tennessee saying, it's time to build it, Mark. I don't know. I did just build it. Are you talking about the ruck or something like that? So, all right, that's got us caught up. Hey, what do you guys think? Somebody give me a message here. I don't want to waste anyone's time. And if we have some technical issues, which it's kind of looking like, we can sit and talk about the charity auction a little bit. I got a kind of a backup plan for that. Or, we just do a shorter live stream, and I'll just, oh, yeah. So we're having some issues. It's blocking him from. Hang on, everybody. Give me 1 second here. I think what I'm just going to do is, we'll just call an audible. So give me 1 second. I don't want to show his number or anything, although it's, it's not super secret information. He is former special forces though, so it might be some secret squirrel stuff here. I'm going to see if I can get him on and just put him on speaker. Hey, Clint, no harm, no foul. I don't know what's going on with that, but I've got everything going right now. I've kind of already shown off the product I just made. Didn't talk, too much. I know this isn't the perfect solution, but I mean, if you want to just say hi to everybody, I could just put you on speakerphone and you could just say hi and just give everybody a little bit of background about yourself and why Nemesis kicks ass. And then we could just reschedule it for another time and having you on, because I'm going to keep doing these. So do you mind talking to everybody? Okay. Let me just put you on speaker here. Hang on a second. Say that again. Okay. Roger Dodger. Okay. Here we go. All right. So we're trying something different here, boys and girls. Hey, Clint, can you say hi to everybody?
Hey, how's everybody doing?
All right, you guys, hey, on somebody on the other side, in the chat, let me know if you're able to hear that. Okay, I'm just going to keep them right up by the microphone, but if you guys can hear it, we'll at least get, we'll get Clint here to be able to give his background and talk about Nemesis and why, it's just the badass camo it is. Can anyone just, hey, Clint, why don't you just go ahead and start talking if you don't mind? Whatever you're willing to share, introduce yourself, talk a little bit about your background. Okay, I got one person just came in and said they could hear you perfectly. So if you're okay with that, Clint, how about a little bit about yourself, your background, and then we'll go into Nemesis, and then we'll just kind of keep that short, and we'll just have to coordinate getting you on another time in the future.
No problem. Apologize for the little technical difficulty. I've been out on the road a little bit with just working on a film, and I'll kind of come back around on that. But I guess I've known Mark for a number of years with Centerline. I'm also a fan of his products. I see a lot of value in what he's making, what he's offering. I know about his background, and Mark and I got started talking a little bit last week or two, and had a lot of common interests in the industry and outside the industry. So I was real excited to be able to come on and talk a little bit. I guess where I would start is I'm originally from Casper, Wyoming. I also live in Rapid City, South Dakota, and I retired from the Army down at Fort Benning, Georgia. I was a weapons developer. The last thing that I did before I got out of the Army, around in 3rd Special Forces Group and the 75th Ranger Regiment. So did 25 years total, and after I got out of the Army, as a lot of people do, kind of segued right into the tactical industry with firearms and gear and stuff like that, and really kind of got into the camo area. I've worked for a couple of other camo companies in the past, and really kind of got a college education on not only my own end user experience in camouflage while I was in the military, but becoming a lot more knowledgeable about how those products are made. So that kind of took me into where I'm at in this camo area. Am I going a good way there, Mark? So far?
Oh yeah, you're crushing it, sir.
Okay. So over the last couple of years, like I said, about the last 8 years, I've been working in printing substrates, whether they be mil spec fabrics, trims, webbings, loop, things like that go into making these products. with also being in the area of hydrographics, water transfer, Kydex printing, Kydex wrapping, and vinyl wraps, and some Cerakote. So I really kind of learned a lot about how these products work, and developing the camouflage, and then also learning how to bring that to life in these substrates that we use across the hunting and tactical industry. So that's really, it got interesting for me, being an end user, and then I kind of got a little bit of knowledge in this area, and then the product development was another area. I've been doing SHOT Show and some of the other industry shows, not only for the U.S. Army before I retired, but then right out into the industry as a consultant and working with a lot of companies. So that armed me with a lot of information, not only as an end user, as printing, substrates, and product development. What are the products that guys really like? The people that, do, military application, survival type stuff, field craft, and into those areas. So that's where I kind of got into, and then ended up developing a camo that so far has been fairly successful. So what do you think, Mark? Questions?
Yeah, I've got a question for you, and I think, it's kind of lobbing a softball, because I'm sure this is going through somebody else's brain, because, before I had you on the phone, I was showing off the pattern, because I just made a mother canteen carrier and one of our we call them mud flaps, but the lid for it, a cover. And I was pointing out, like what you pointed out to me about your design, that it's not, the pattern itself isn't just, on the X, Y, or on the horizontal or the vertical axis, how you kind of came up with that scheme. Do you want to talk about that a little bit and why that's important?
Awesome. That's great. Take me down that road. NEMESIS Camo was, as I started the idea for NEMESIS Camo, knowing what's going on in the industry with camouflage patterns. There's some patterns that have been out there for 20 years or better. And when you work in this area, you kind of realize that you've got to evolve, and, things change, new things come out, but everything has a shelf life. And even though something's really, really good, it gets proliferated out there, it gets real big, and then people want something new. But the trend in the industry right now is people are really interested in M81. They're interested in tiger stripe, frog skin, a lot of those legacy patterns that are associated with a group of warriors over time. And that's why they become legacy patterns, and they have staying power. When I started developing NEMESIS, I wanted to bring something new, but with a lot of flavor of the historical or legacy patterns. Being a former Special Forces guy, I've always romanticized those, the Iwo Jima Marines, the, Navy SEAL, SF, Green Berets from Vietnam, up to the current GWAT and, the current uniforms that we're wearing now. But a big thing was I listened very intently over the years at how these manufacturers, while they're CAD cutting the cut designs, things like that, one of the things that they had a problem is they hate seeing a CAD cut get cut the wrong way. And if a camouflage is horizontal in nature and you cut a pocket or a pouch or something like that incorrectly because you didn't catch it before the laser started cutting it, that's scrap on the floor.
And you well know, and I'll just add for everyone else, and when you're running camouflage patterns versus solid patterns, I mean, there's a big price difference, and whether you're getting it at a yard or 100 yards. So, you make mistakes like that, and you're just throwing money on the floor. I mean, plain and simple.
For sure. And it stings when you buy a yard at, $20 or better, and you're having these orders come in for people that, they have their pattern that they like, and you're a pattern option, and you're trying to facilitate small business, veteran-owned business, stuff like that. These that are growing, those are the ones that I really, really enjoy working with. And I want to make sure that they can come in and test the waters on a pattern. You have to, because at the end of the day, no matter whether I like it or other people like it, the industry decides. So if it's got a cool look, and I was very lucky that just over a very short amount of time, the ideas that were in my head have been repeated back to me when I've shown the pattern to other people. They see what I intended to put in the pattern. So that is extremely gratifying that they see, wow, it kind of looks like frog skin. It kind of has an M81. And then they see the feathering that I put into the edges of the patterns, which is more like an urdle. And within that, making sure that all those colors are colors that are very familiar and what are basically considered Natick reflectant value NIR colors. So that's first thing everybody asks, does this pattern, does it glow? You know, does it have NIR knockdown? So those were all things I made sure I built into the pattern initially.
Hey, you know, and just I kind of want to come back to the patterns, and then we have a question for you too. But you know, so you just talked, and I really, and I think that's one of the things I just immediately, you know, man crushed with you on is just like your honesty and your forthrightness. Because you know, as a small business end user, you know, if I'm buying 100 yards of multicam Tropic, and I personally love that color, it's just I don't, you know. Yeah, that's it could maybe work as a camouflage up here in northern Minnesota, but only like during the height of summer. But I just love it as a color. But to your point, you know, I'm buying 100 yards of that. I'm buying, you know, single side webbing, double side webbing, all that. I mean, easily thousands of dollars sitting on a shelf, and it didn't sell for shit.
Yes, exactly. You know, and those are, you're mentioning the lessons learned over time, that you tuck those in your kit bag and make sure that you try to, and I appreciate the comment, you know, a lot of the people that I know in the industry are friends of mine, and I want to make sure if they come to me and say, hey, I like NEMESIS Camo, but, you know, I need to organically grow into this. I need to see that there is an interest in this pattern. And I feel that I've been fairly fortunate, even working with you, Mark, and now you're doing some things with it. There's some other phenomenal, hope I get to mention those companies while we're talking. It's been, I know how tenacious I am and how I stay after things and the knowledge base that I bring to bringing a pattern to life. But it's even exceeded to this point. I'm very happy where I'm at right now.
Right on. Hey, so a question from a customer here. A question for a customer. I'm sorry, and then somebody else just made a comment about multicam Tropic, that it's a fashion statement. Well, because you could wear it, you know, as just like a hat or a pair of shirt. I've even seen some people actually doing that. But the question for you specifically, coming from now, I'll pull it up here on the screen for everybody who is watching it. So Tennessee, she's actually lives out in Oregon, and her name is Tennessee. That's her handle here. She wants to know how you came up with the name. According to her, she's like, how did you come up with the name? It's too perfect. What do you got for that, Clint?
Good question. I like it. And the Nemesis, you know, I went back and forth on names that I wanted. You know, you know, of course, Camo was going to be in it, but I wanted, I'll drill down in that about some of the way that the individual color versions are named. But the Nemesis to me is, we all have something that you struggle with. And for a soldier, you know, staying concealed until you don't want to be concealed is the soldier's nemesis, you know, and you have to become, your field craft has to become very good to not be detected, you know. The way that I decided that I wanted the pattern, a lot of the patterns out there designed, and I love that other comment about fashion statement. The patterns, when you go to name your, you know, hunting store, you know, Bass Pro Cabela's, things like that, and there's lots of camos. A lot of times I feel the camo is over engineered in micro patterns. So it has great shelf appeal and it looks cool. But like myself, if you spend a lot of time behind optics, staring into the wood line, looking for the things that you detect them first, which is movement.
Movement, yep.
movement is the first thing that you see, you know. So, but if you're closer to me than, let's just say, I'll say 150 meters, 200 meters, and you're moving through the woods, you know, a little tiny rock in the pattern is going to make zero difference, you know. So these micro patterns at, let's say, 300 meters and beyond, when I'm on good glass and I'm staring through a long gun, you know, I want a pattern that breaks up at further distances, because the closer I am, that's going to be movement, smell, you know, moving forward and backward, left and right. There's a lot of different things that your eye's going to pick up on closer, and that's going to take really good field craft to be stealthful. Allow me, please, to jump on the fashion statement side, because I've been very honest about this with my pattern. They are fashion statements. All camos are fashion statements in a sense. And that's exactly why when you see frog skin, and everybody out there is wearing, you want to call it duck hunter or frog skin, that's why everybody's buying it, because some elite warriors wore it during a conflict, which is the Marines, Marine Raiders, and that is synonymous with those warriors. The same thing with Tiger Stripe. As soon as you see Tiger Stripe, you're taken back to Green Berets, John Wayne, Navy SEALs, LURPs. It's synonymous with those warriors. But I always say this: my father, my grandfather, people that have been hunters throughout the years, they go out in a flannel shirt, blue jeans, and an orange vest. And if you're good at stalking animals, you're going to come home with some game. So it's not really about what you're wearing; it's your field craft and your tenacity. Those warriors, if you're talking about 10 guys and they're assaulting the building, they don't need camo. You know, so a lot of times it's that you become partial to a pattern and you become loyal to that pattern. And that's really building, you know, who's wearing it, and, you know, if it has a cool look. So I hope I answered that right.
Yeah, and I like, and say we definitely have to have you on, and we do this again in person, because I mean that's such a great statement right there. I mean, look, yeah, camouflage does have, you know, some benefits, but you said movement, right? And one of my original mottos for my company when I was more on the training side was movement matters. And you know, and that can go both ways, you know, like, you know, and then Fred Bear, you know, like what you just said about flannels and blue jeans. I mean, Fred Bear's got like one of his 10 commandments is like, you know, something along those lines. I mean, you know, you could be wearing a red checkered, you know, whatever. It's your ability to sit still and, you know, and think, you know, think like the animal that's going to do it for you. But I love the examples that you gave about, like, you know, glassing, you know, whether it's through binos or a scope, you know, an optic on your weapons platform, or just even with the naked Mark IV eyeball, just looking downrange, you know. And then, because I want you to kind of break that one down even more, because are we talking about somebody low crawling, people standing up, taking a knee, you know, 3 to 5 second, right? Because all of that stuff comes into play. And, you know, and you're right, when you're kicking in a door, you know, like, you know, that always, and look, and I'm not picking on anyone in law enforcement, but, you know, I see all these SWAT guys, you know, which is urban for the most part. And it's, you know, not even just urban, but it's going to be in a building, and they're all decked out in multicam. I'm like, whatever, dude. I mean, you know, I guess, you know, totally unnecessary, but I thought that was a great point. And I don't know if you want to add a little bit to that. But I really like that. That was, to me, that was a really good and very interesting point you brought up there.
Yeah, and like I said, after sitting, you know, in a lot of high sights, sitting there behind a rifle for a long time, you're getting tired, you're trying to watch movement, things like that. I want a really good big pattern. Like I said, at a certain distance, it's going to come into play more than close up.
Yeah.
So the details, that's why I really made the pattern pretty basic. But again, listening to manufacturers and trying to add in all those little lessons learned, the directions, the colors, the size of the pattern. And gosh, I get off on some of these things thinking about it. And it's really where you're trying to print the fabrics, you know, because the colorists at the plants, you really start learning who the colorists are and what plants you're printing at. and what their personal capability is to be able to make the pattern look good on the fabric and then stay on standard as the pattern moves into the future. So it always stays the same, because there's nothing worse, at least to me, is to have, you know, different kinds of fabrics, Corduras, 500D, 1000D, ripstops, and then into your plastics, wraps, and dips that don't match.
Yeah.
You know, so it's extremely important for me as a brand, a camo brand, is to have standard across all of the different substrates, but even within the fabrics, that they come out looking good, and you're printing the right fabrics, so they have color fastness and all the performance things that they're putting in fabrics now.
Yep.
So I know I got a little off on that with you, but again, back on you look at the law enforcement guys, and, you know, I'm a former, I spent some time as a law enforcement guy. And, you know, again, you're looking at, well, who's wearing multicam? Well, all these door kickers are wearing it. We got to have that, you know, and a lot of it's really, and that was one of the things as a former soft guy, I'm very, I want to be able to, man, if SF guys are wearing my pattern in the future, there could be nothing better. But the Army's going to be real lethargic on moving on anything.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to offer something that looks great, has a legacy look, has performance, and then not only performance in the fabrics, but in the field performance.
Yeah. Is it going to aid and assist you again? Yeah. Yep.
Is it an asset? So, and again, we talked about before a little bit while we were talking the other day. I mean, gosh, the multicam right now, I mean, good on them, but they've been out over 20 years, and over 40 countries are wearing multicam or a version of multicam. It gets to the point where if you were to hit a target and everybody's in multicam, how do you PID your guys? And that's why a lot of soft guys can go off the reservation with commercial off-the-shelf products. So when they know, well, all these people are going to be wearing that, we're going to wear this, you know, so I can see my guys immediately.
And just for everybody who's listening to Clint, so PID, it's a positive identification, you know, friend or foe. And, you know, if you just even look at, you know, what's going on over in Ukraine, you know, kind of to Clint's point, why do you think people are wrapping, you know, colored tapes on their arms and their helmets, their mitch helmet? You know, it's because there's too many similarities in equipment and uniform. So how are you going to positively identify your buddies so you can put, you know, scunion on the bad guys? Well, because you don't want to have friendly fire, you know, every time you're going out and doing something. So yeah,
exactly.
You know, hey, so you tell me, we're at 32. We haven't really lost anybody. I mean, so you've just, even the audio is going great, but I kind of want, like, you know, I'm not joking. I kind of almost want to wrap it up right there, and then just, you know, coordinate with you and get you back in person, because there's so many, like I already wrote down 3 other things I want to kind of talk about. And maybe from my end. So how about this, before I ask you this last question or kind of make this last comment? Do you want to just wrap this up a little bit early? You know, better than me. Not that like holding my phone is difficult, but yeah. And then we just get you back on at another time, show off more of your gear. And then honestly, at that point in time, depending, you know, because now we're talking somewhere in July, and, you know, kind of contingent on your schedule too. And I might even have some more products here that I can show off, because I'll probably do some things initially with Rocky Woods and just kind of keep it low order, like you said. And then I'll probably, you know, go up to 50, 100-yard rolls. But so if you're okay with that, we'll kind of wrap it up. But I want to kind of bring it back to you for one kind of, well, this is the question from me to you, because I think it would be cool. But I like what you're saying about the legacy, you know, and we've got these, you know, whether you want to call it tier 1 or historic, there is something about that, you know, and period pieces and the gear and who was using it and the history behind all that, you know, with our independence coming up, you know, and that's what people, I think, really should kind of like look at and listen to, you know, like, oh, you know, real tree versus this versus that. Like, okay, well, you know, I could just throw a bunch of actual real branches in my gear and there's my real tree. I like what you're saying, you know, and then, you know, from a selfish perspective, you know, you're talking about tiger stripes, you know, so in one little theater, you know, desert tiger stripes, and that shit worked. And that was kind of like, again, that kind of indicated, oh, that's those guys. And so I never really thought about it that way. I really like your approach and your thought on it. Do you want to expound upon that again, or just maybe reinforce that, what that really means? It's like, hey, here's the men and women who were in these units. These units kicked ass, and they've got a huge history. And, so half the time we're kind of honoring, what that was during that time, the sacrifices they made, and just some of the heroic exploits of those individuals or those units.
I will try to expound on that, and I'll tell I appreciate everybody listening, and I definitely want to come back on and talk with you. It was a little technical difficulty. I was traveling today. We were on set filming this movie for about the last 7 days. So I got back over here to where I'm staying up here in Rapid City, and had a little technical thing trying to get the phone on. So we'll come back on. We'll talk about some more, and I'll talk a little story about legacy guys. And when I went through the Special Forces selection in '96, I ended up attending the Q course in the Special Forces qualification course in I graduated March 7th of '97. And so I ended up going up to Fort Bragg and getting assigned to 3rd Special Forces Group. And of course, that's right where I wanted to be, at Fort Bragg. So I ended up going and joining the Special Forces Association. The chapter that's at Fort Bragg is probably one of the longest one. I don't know if there's one longer than 118, which is the chapter there. And so I started attending a lot of the meetings and stuff, and befriended a friend of mine that his name was Jerry Levy. And Sergeant Major Levy was a CCN, Command and Control North SOG guy, and got very friendly with him. He was a great guy, and couldn't even imagine hanging out with these guys that I read a lot of books, read all the Placider books, the SOG stuff, as much as I could consume, because it was really the area that I was just so interested in. And so I ended up attending the association, and Jerry started kind of pointing me around. Oh, that's so-and-so. And he was one of the Delta Force Sergeant Majors, and he was in 5th Group. And there's John Myers over there. Oh, let me introduce you to John. Going around Jimmy Dean, which is a Silver Star, training group colonel that was the Special Forces Association president. It was just absolutely amazing to walk in there and be a part of that, and just walk around and go, holy smokes, I am not only walking in the shadows of legends, I'm in here talking to them. And it was really kind of surreal for me. And, I was a big collector for a while of memorabilia. And I'll tell you what, when you'd go in there and start talking to those guys, and you could talk about the stuff that they did and you knew about it was surprising to them that a younger, Greenbrier, I'm a little bit older now than when that happened, but, for them to just sit there and go, wow, I'm amazed that you really know this to this level. And then you start talking to them about things, and they're like, oh, I think I've got one of those at the house, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of a unicorn if you had one of those. And here they come bringing it in. And it's like, oh my God, I can't believe you got that. I've only ever seen that in books, and honoring those guys, it was just absolutely. And I still have bunches of friends, the older guys, of course, my time period guys. And that is, I guess, why even in this industry at this point, being able to work with so many former military guys like yourself, I have a lot of friendships in there. And, the camo is, I like doing it. I don't need to do it. I'm retired and, I'm doing my thing, but I just have a passion for it. I really like it. I like the history, and, hey, I get lucky, something happens, somebody starts wearing my pattern. If it was to become what some of these other, it would be amazing, because it, again, like you said, it's honoring these people. I want to support the end user, the people that are carrying the torch now.
Yeah, that's well said, sir. That is very well said. Hey, I got a couple comments that have come in for you while you were chatting there.
Sure.
One of our guys on the live stream here, his handle is Angry Viking Veteran. His comment was, so nice to hear someone so passionate about their product. You don't find that care from China, ... Well, ain't that the truth, right?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then Gene from across the pond, Gene's over in the UK. And he just said, we need a part 2 and a part 3. Amen, Gene. Yeah, damn right. Then an individual named Learn Me Something just said, well said, Angry Viking. And then, what's going on with my computer here? Here we go. Then we've got Kelly chiming in. I can't wait for the next design, Clint. Congratulations on Nemesis. Particularly love your story about the connections, loyalty to the story, the period, the brotherhood, the real deal. And then she also says, and it's so much more. So kind of the closing comments there. What do you got? Where do you want to go? I think we'll just kind of wrap it up and bring you on, because I mean, even with just you know, on my phone speaker, this has been kick ass right there. So, and obviously everybody wants you to come back on and see you in person and hear more of the story and see more of the gear. So what do you got for a final, kind of outro on your side, sir?
Well, I'll tell you what, Mark, and I may let the cat out of the bag a little bit, but Mark and I talked on the phone for a long time last night. We've known each other for a while, but the first time we really had a good in-depth conversation on the phone, and there was so much we wanted to talk about. And I jokingly told Mark, I said, we better do it in chapters, because, there's fun stuff to talk about. There's a lot going on right now. And, I appreciate the comments from the people. That was super cool. And I would love to get back on and talk about, just fun stuff that everybody wants to chime in and talk about. And I'm ready to go. The technical difficulty was all mine. I apologize. And we'll jump back on here as soon as Mark's got another spot for me to come on.
Right on. Well, I really appreciate it. And I know you're a busy man. I'll probably give you a call in about 10 minutes and just kind of do a quick after action review. But hey, just, shit happens. Technology is technology. And just glad that you were there and were willing to come on and share your story and talk about your company and this kick-ass camouflage pattern. And yeah, and it's just been an honor and privilege. I know we, kind of had contact in the past, but, just these last few weeks of just getting to know you again and talking to you. It's really been awesome. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, it's fun to come on. I'm glad you had me on. I'd love to talk about not only the camo more, but, like I said, topics that people want to chime in and ask questions and do a little Q&A back. And you and I chew the fat on a lot of stuff. So there's some cool things to talk about, and we hit a lot of them last night, and we're going to engage those things as soon as we can.
Rock and roll, my good man. That's what I like to hear. Awesome. I am fist bumping you from northern Minnesota, sir. I'm looking west and giving you a bump right now. And if you were there with me, I'd pour you a beer. Although I'm just drinking a Miller Lite, but I'm kind of a wimp here today. But whatever.
Thank you for everybody that stayed on and listened. Man, I'd love to be able to talk a little bit more, but we'll, like Mark said, we'll keep it short and jump back on where we have video and audio all at the same time and really get into it and answer some questions. Right on.
And then just one last comment coming your way from the live stream, the chat. Kelly, that's AKA Tennessee. She's saying, thanks so much, Clint. Learned a bunch, and big exclamation point. I echo her comments. Thank you, Clint.
Very cool.
Yeah, and then I'll give you a ring in about 10 for AR, if that's okay.
For sure.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, sir. I'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Mark.
You got it. Thanks, everyone. All right. All right, everybody. Hey, shit happens. Technology, whatever. We did, that actually worked really well. That went pretty damn good for just doing that, holding the phone. I hope you guys could hear that I hope you could hear it and understand everything. I didn't have the volume up too loud, so I didn't want it to get a little distorted. I think this mic is pretty good, so it should have shown up, should have came out okay. Somebody let me know if it was a thumbs up, thumbs down. I had a couple people who are saying they could kind of hear it, but then I had a few people saying that they could hear it. Let me get into some comments here, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. Kevin, raised on M81. Yeah, that was the camo. Well, actually, yeah, that was the camo when I was in. But my first duty station, we still had and not OD. you know, like, OD5, whatever that was, those, I mean, we still actually had jungle fatigues, like just straight up jungle fatigues when I first was in. So yeah, M81, that's kind of interesting. And I'm sorry, I got sidetracked on myself there. Kevin, raised on M81, but we'll be looking forward to hearing the next interview. Yeah, rock and roll. I mean, we're going to have to make that happen, plain and simple. Kelly, Mark, I don't know if this has happened to others, but I was locked out of my live via iPad and had to go to phone to make a comment. I don't know what's going on, Kelly, but that was kind of the issue that Clint had. He was being locked out, even though he could access it. It wasn't letting him do it. So not quite sure what's going on there. iPad, maybe it's an Apple thing. I'm not 100% sure. We did have some issues, if you remember, with Paul and William, and he was running an app. He runs Apple products, and that actually had another kind of technical glitch right at the very beginning. And then he ended up having to download a different browser because, it's not Safari anymore, but whatever it is on Apple, it just wouldn't let him do it. Renegade Arms, aka Eric. Hey, Renegade Arms, hey, nice to see you over here. I'm ready for that pack to come out. Yeah, hey, stay tuned. I guess I just might as well say it. So we're giving one away for the charity auction. I don't know where the ticket sales are right now. I haven't looked in about an hour, but we were like at, I think, 35 or 36. So there's not a whole lot of those tickets left. But the rucksack will be one of the prizes for the charity auction. And then, I've obviously, we've got to factor in, our time, just like we were a customer. And I've got a lot of customer orders that I want to get taken care of before the 4th. And then we're going to take the 4th off. Somebody got mad at me. Like, I'm like, what? I don't get to take the 4th. Man, there's only a certain number of holidays that are actually matter to me. And the 4th of July is one of them. That's like, sacred. So, yeah, so we're going to take that off. So Renegade, aka Eric, yeah, probably going to be just after the 4th of July, that 4th of July weekend. So stay tuned. We'll be talking more about it, and then other lives and, other social media. Kelly's saying, okay, it worked well. Thanks, Kelly. That the mic worked with the phone. I'm glad to hear that. Gene, wow, what a great night. I hope he is writing a book because that would be a bestseller. No issues for me. Seriously. I've been so lucky to be able to sit and just have, like, last night we talked for about an hour. What an awesome guy. I mean, just incredible. Yeah. So yeah, you're absolutely right, Gene. He should write a book, right? Learn me something saying loud and clear. Angry Viking veteran, give me a thumbs up. Okay. And then Kelly saying an Apple phone allowed to comment. Yeah, I don't know. And I'm not trying to throw Apple or Samsung or Galaxy or any of those guys under the bus. I mean, I just think with different operating systems and platforms that may have had something to do with it. I don't know, Eric over here from Renegade Arms. I'm a retired military man and I can't hate for taking the 4th off. Yeah, seriously. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Someone got mad at me because I was like, yeah, we're not going to work on the 4th. Like, what? Like, come on, dude. And then Kelly, you bring real people, Mark. Very cool. Seriously, hey, thank you for that comment. But no, and I don't want to be, I'm not trying to be negative, but seriously, we've got to like comment on comments, like, share, because ScrewTube doesn't like it. The algorithm doesn't like it. I'm glad to hear that you guys like it, because that's why I'm doing it, because I think it is important. And I think there's lots of cool people out there, and you may not even have heard of them. Like, so Dustin, he's in here. So I think he might still be here. Handcrafted cowboy boots. He's a great human being, right? So, just bringing some people on. But for whatever reason, ScrewTube, I mean, I guess because it has to do with community or self-reliance or preparedness, whatever. But ScrewTube doesn't like that. But then you go make a video about, giving a, and you get 1 million views making a video about, I don't even know. I got to hold my tongue. I had to babysit, and I was subjected to a bunch of YouTube personality type of things. And I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I'm like, how do these people have 1 million subscribers? It's just unbelievable what really does matter in nowadays. So I don't know. Hey, I'm going to end. Here's what I do know. I'm going to end a little bit. God, it was just awesome having Clint on. It'll be lots of fun. But here, so whether you're watching this live or if you watch us on demand, these are not all the orders. I know some have come in. I had to get this all ready and had other things to do, so I haven't looked at it. What is it, at 1750, almost 1800? I haven't looked at this in about 2 hours, so we might even be sold out. I don't I mean, maybe not, but when I looked at this about 2 hours ago, we were already at 30. Well, this takes us up to 30 tickets and a couple more orders that already come in. So I'm just going to do this kind of quickly. Frank, you are tickets 1, 2, and 3. Mark, I don't want to say it, but I know you should still be here. You are tickets 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Michael, tickets 9, 10, and 11. Corey, well, hey, yeah, I don't know. I didn't see you here tonight, but maybe you're here, but maybe you'll watch it later. Corey, your tickets 12 and 13. Jacob, you are ticket number 14. Gene, you are ticket 15. Dave, Jay isn't, yeah, you know, yeah, you're over here sometimes on the lives. I didn't see you tonight, but you bought 5 tickets. You are tickets 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Then, yeah, and I think you're here right now too, Anthony. I think I saw you just a second ago. You are tickets 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. And then the last one I had before I had to do other stuff. And I don't think Johnny's over here, but Johnny, you are 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. And I know some other tickets had come in. Like I said, I had other things I had to do to get prepped for this and then just finish up some other stuff, get some things mailed out here today. I'm just going to show Kelly's last comment here. The world is upside down. I don't know the answer, but you provide a safe place to share. Thank you. I don't know if that was intentional. That was really funny. And if it wasn't, it's still funny. A safe place. But thank you, Kelly. I really appreciate that. Hey, Monday's live stream, got a really interesting gentleman coming on. We're going to talk a little bit more about resiliency. That's going to be on Monday with Dusty. And then I think on Monday, I'll also have some more information regarding the charity auction, the rucksack, and a new, well, this I will say, just this will be my final outro here as we're kind of wrapping it up. I am going to start another channel. I'm not going to say the name yet because I want to make sure I can get my email. I can secure a Proton mail with this, and I know you can kind of tweak it over on Proton, but more importantly, I got to make sure that I can get the spaces over on Rumble, Twitter, and ScrewTube. But we are going to do another channel so these live streams are going to be Thursdays only. It'll be the same time. But after the 4th of July, I'm only going to do the live streams with the guests. That'll be Thursdays only. 17 until 1800. We'll take a 30-minute break. And then for anyone who's interested, then we'll meet up over on the other channel and we'll just have a conversation and just see where it goes. And, but it's an adult table conversation, right? I don't care about your politics. I don't care about your sexual preference, your religious beliefs. But if we're all adults, we should be able to have some pretty rational adult conversations. And that's what we're going to do. So stay tuned. I'll have more information. I'll definitely have that figured out before the 4th. And then just on that note, obviously the 4th is a Thursday. Well, I shouldn't say obviously, maybe you don't know it, but the 4th is a Thursday. So that Monday, that's the 1st. That is going to be the last of these live streams. Then we'll take, the rest of that time off. I'm not going to do a live stream on the 4th of July. And then we'll come back that following week, which will be the 11th. And then we'll kick these guys off and I'll have all that new format and everything set up. So I'll have more information coming out in the near future. We got Ground Fog. Hey, Ground Fog, by the way, you were winner chicken dinner on these cards. If you remember from last time, pretty sure that was you, my good man. I still got 2 of them for you. If you want to shoot me an email, I'll drop these in the mail for you. Kelly and Gene, I got yours off to the side and those will just ship when I ship your guys' gear. Ground Fog saying a big clap. Thank you very much, Ground Fog. And then Kelly with a kind of explosion. All right, boys and girls, I think that's going to wrap it up. 53 minutes. Yeah, we'll just kind of wrap it there unless anyone's got any last questions, comments. Nothing coming in. Wanted to give everybody an opportunity. All right, boys and girls, you know the deal. Reach out anytime you got questions, comments. I will help you out as best I can. Until then, keep thinking. Keep moving. Never quit. All right, Gene, let's do it. Woo! All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.